busy people getting fit in Fulshear, Texas. Our aim is to help you look better, feel better, and perform better as quickly as possible. I'm your host, Bryan White with Blue Eagle Fitness and Nutrition. Welcome. Hey, what's up, Clancy?
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
Great. What are we talking about today?
So, you know how you do those goal review sessions?
Yeah.
And you're
3
always
months.
asked, every 3 months you want us to do goal review sessions with you. And you want to talk about how heavy we lifted, or, you have all these tally marks along the way
Yes.
where you can track our progress, right?
Yep.
So I'm curious because I heard you say one time about one of your goals, one of your personal goals.
Okay.
I'm curious how you track your progress on that.
Oh, okay. And what goal are we talking about?
I'm talking about the goal that you want. When you reach this goal, it includes your wife fainting.
Okay, so you're talking about my goal, my own personal goal, that
Yes.
I want to reach the point where one day I am getting out of the shower, my wife accidentally walks in on me, sees me getting out of the shower, and I catch her off guard. And due to the overwhelmingly gorgeousness of my body, she faints.
She faints.
She faints. Yes, that is a goal.
That's
Whenever
the
I mention
goal.
this goal to anyone, they laugh a lot. Usually at me, right? I don't know how else you could define the direction of the laughter. Apparently, I'm so far away from this goal that it is completely unattainable. But we all have a reason for getting out of bed in the morning, and this one just happens to be mine.
I mean, I think it's a good goal. I'm just
Dude,
worried when she faints, is she going to hit her head
I
and like
hope
crack
not.
her skull open?
I mean, on one hand, I would feel that would be a mixture of pride and worry, right? And that would be a bad way. That's a bad mixture. I just want to feel good about myself.
Maybe next time, you think you might catch her off guard, you can line the floor with like pillows or something in there.
There you go. That's a good
So,
idea. That's a good idea. When I think I'm close, and
right.
how do I measure it? Maybe
How do
when
you
she just
know?
gets wobbly in the knees, but doesn't like completely faint. Maybe that means that I'm on my way, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another way is like I have another kind of goal in life, not so much anymore, but definitely used to be, would be that other people, women in particular, would think of me as hot and sexy. And they don't, right? I'm cute and funny, right? Which is literally the opposite of hot and sexy, right? This is hot and sexy over here, cute and funny is over here. So maybe if there were a time when we were out with friends and my wife did not refer, why are you so glad you're married to Bryan, right? He's so cute, he's so funny, right? She doesn't say cute and funny, but um, you know, just for how I look, the gorgeousness of my body, that would be a good answer. That would be a good answer.
Yes.
I don't know any guy who would be disappointed if that was his wife's answer.
Well, I have to say, I do think one time on Facebook, she put happy birthday to my sexy husband.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
maybe
she
I
was
took a
talking about you.
she was talking about me at that time. Oh, that's good. That's good. I might have screenshotted it and saved it to my photos.
You
But
should
that's not
like
exactly what we're
you
talking
should
about today.
you should frame it and put it
I
on your
should
wall
frame
in
it.
your
I
office.
should frame it.
Yeah.
So what we're talking
I mean,
about today is the mirror moment. Most of us went through a period of life where when we were growing up, we were active, we worked hard, we played lots of sports, or at least playing outside a lot. We studied a lot, or active in activities or whatever. And we look good, we look decent. We may not have had the greatest self-confidence in the world, but looking back, especially, we know, wow, we were actually pretty healthy. And then we grow up, get go to school or get married, have kids, get a job, get out in the real world, and most of us spend 10, if not 20 plus years not really taking care of ourselves. And then one day, maybe for me, I was on vacation in Destin, Florida, and on the beach wearing swim trunks. I was getting ready to go down to the beach, looked in the mirror, and had my mirror moment with quotes. If you can't see me, my mirror moment.
So what happened?
I looked and I did not look good at all. I
What
was
did you look like?
I was overweight and out of shape. I mean, that was, yeah, overweight and out of shape. That was, which is,
That's hard to imagine, actually.
well, I mean, it's the truth. That was what years? That was 11 years ago. 11 years ago when I looked in the mirror and I went, oh
Oh.
no, this is bad. This is bad.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I grew up running. Like I was, ran track, ran cross country. You could call me up on a Friday and say, hey, I've got a bib for a 10K tomorrow. Do you want to go? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. That sounds fun. Um, I went out and I could not run from like the edge of the beach to the water. I could not run that, which was, 50 yards, 70 yards. I could not run
Hmm.
that. Not that I couldn't run and get out of breath. Like I could not run it at all. I could not make it all the way there by
That's
running.
hard to imagine.
That's a bad sign, by the way. If you can't run 50 yards without stopping, even through the sand, I
Hmm.
recognize I was running through sand, so it was harder than just like on pavement. That's a bad sign.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, so then I was depressed for that entire vacation. Went home, and had another similar moment where my wife had taken my kids to a playground that was exactly a half mile away. We had measured it for some other reason before, but it was exactly a half mile away from my house. And I could have driven there, but now we have two cars and I mean, that didn't make any sense. So I just went home, parked, put on some shorts, and ran. My plan was to jog a half a mile to the playground, and this was on a sidewalk, and I could not make it. I had to stop. That's not a half a mile. Think about, like, you are not the greatest runner in the world. Would you agree?
No, that's
In fact,
100% true. You know me well.
you hate it,
Yes,
you don't like
I
it,
hate it.
and you're slow, right? But you
Correct.
can run half a mile nonstop.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do it nonstop. I could not. I could not do that. That also, if you can't jog half a mile nonstop, that's a problem. That's a problem. You are closer to death than you are to life at that point.
And that's a hard thing to say because a lot of people can't jog a half a mile. And so I think that's a hard line to draw, especially with people who can't run physically.
And I
So I
so
think,
what I said was you are closer to death than you are to life. So think about
okay.
someone, someone who you think probably can't run half a mile without
Yeah.
stopping. Now, and think about how old they are,
Yeah. True, true, true.
right? And that's what I mean. They are closer to death, right? If the average man lives now only to like 74, and the average woman, I think, is 77, 78, right? So that
Yeah,
means
that's
we're
true.
more than halfway there when we're at anywhere between 36 to 39.
So we hope that those people aren't in their 20s or 30s,
We hope you're
right?
not in the I was in my early 30s at that point. At that point in my life, I was in my early 30s.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I was on pace to not live beyond 70, certainly at that point.
How is the health of your household?
It was good. I mean, it was decent, I would say. My
Hmm.
wife was probably as in shape as I was. I mean, we were busy with young kids, and they were
You
super
guys had,
active.
well,
They
that's
were
what I was going to
super active.
say. You guys had young kids and you were
Yeah, but
working.
if you think about the structure of life today, the structure of life is you take your kids to an activity like gymnastics or swim. They go spend 30 to 60 minutes doing gymnastics or swim or baseball or soccer while parents sit on the sideline. And I was there watching other people be active, but but that doesn't count,
Hmm.
right? I was
Yeah.
on the sidelines, I was sitting, or I was in my car waiting something. So,
So when you looked in the mirror and you said, "Oh no, this is not good." I mean,
yeah.
and you you said, oh, okay. Well, you said you finished out your vacation in depression.
more or less. Yeah.
So then you came home, and then what did you do?
Yeah.
Did
Two
you make
main
a change?
things. Two main things. Yeah. The first thing, I started a diet, and my diet I made up. I made up my own diet. It's called Don't Eat Stupid.
Okay.
So don't eat stupid. So at the time, I did not know a lot about nutrition. I did not know what good nutrition looked like. However, I knew what stupid nutrition looked like. Okay.
Like McDonald's drive through.
Well, stupid nutrition for me, every morning I had 20 ounces of orange juice. So I'm starting the day with roughly 60 grams of sugar.
That's a
And I
lot.
knew that wasn't good. Right.
Yeah.
Um, for lunch, I had a double decker sandwich from Murphy's. I had Murphy's sandwich. They were my favorite deli. A double decker sandwich from there, which was fine. But I always had barbecue chips and 44 ounces of Coke. And I don't mean a 44-ounce cup with ice in it. I'll get to that in a minute. It's 44 ounces, no ice, full of nothing but Coke. Okay. Then I would go in for dinner. We'd have a good, well-balanced meal for dinner. And we would have 1 to 3, maybe 4.5 glasses of wine. And then before bed, I would have a couple of scoops of homemade Bluebell vanilla ice cream.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
So
The
I
nectar
literally,
of the gods.
yeah, exactly. Nectar of the gods. Thank you. You have paid attention to me at some point, somewhere. Yeah, I've taught
I
you
listen.
something, and
I
it's
listen.
Bluebell ice cream is nectar from the gods. Yes.
That's funny.
So my diet at the time, my nutrition. I just told you, like, not everything I ate had that has no nutritional value, right? No vitamins, no minerals, almost no protein, very little fat. And
And
yet
tons
I've
of
already
sugar.
consumed about what 120 grams of sugar and 1,400 calories. And I haven't consumed any nutrients yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I knew that was wrong. I knew that was wrong. So here was my first step with my nutrition. And here's the thing that people make it way too complicated. Here was my first thing. The first thing I did was, you know how it was a fountain drink. So I took my 44-ounce cup. I would put it under the spigot, and fill it up with Coke, right? Coke comes in, and then it's all the bubbles, and you let the bubbles come down, and then you top it off. Right? That's what I did before. My first step in this process, I now own a gym, right? I now own a gym. The first step to this whole health journey started with, I stopped topping off my Coke. That was the
Baby
first
steps. Baby
baby
steps.
step. My second step, well, I did that for a week. My second step was I would fill the cup up with ice and then put in Coke and not top it off. Those were my first two steps. That's what they were.
That's good. That's steps. That's
Yes.
the start,
That's
I think
so,
people think we have to be so drastic that we have to go from here to here. These huge drastic steps you started.
yep. And I stuck with each of those habits. I did one for a week. I did the next one for a week. And then I would add another habit and do that for a week. If it didn't stick, then either I would try it for another week, and I would try that one habit for 2 weeks total. And if that didn't stick, I would give up on that habit and find a new one and try it for a week.
I love that. I
That
love
was
that.
that was my nutritional plan. So I told you I did two things. That was the first on the nutrition piece. That's what I did. The second piece was I signed up for a 10K that was in, I want to say, late September. I think the last weekend in September. And I signed up for it in July. So that gave me roughly 3 months to train. And my training was super simple. Like, don't overcomplicate it. I ran as far as I could. Running, jogging, walking, like, it didn't matter. I tried to run, but if I needed to slow down, I did. I ran in one direction for 3 minutes. And then I had a watch. I set it for 3 minutes, and I ran in one direction. then I would stop, and if I needed to catch my breath, I would catch my breath, and then I would run back. I didn't need to set a timer. I would just run back. That was my first step in training, was to so in total,
Mhm.
you're out and moving for 6 minutes. And then the next time I made it 5 out and then ran back, so roughly 10.
Gotcha.
And I did that until I got up to 20 minutes, so 10 minutes out, and then I would run back. And if I ever got I mean, I spent 3 days. I had a calendar. If you've ever known me, I do spreadsheets and and tables. So I had the calendar out, and I measured it out like 3 days of 3 minutes, 3 days of 5 minutes. Then I think I just went to 10, 3 days of 10 minutes, and 3 days of 15 minutes, and 3 days of 20 minutes total. Well, I guess that was, yeah, it ended up being 20 minutes total. And it took a couple of weeks for me to get up there. And then I put together, I Googled couch to 5K and started training for I guess couch to 10K. Because I had been running 10Ks at this point. It had been 10 years prior, but that was my training. And of course, I put it in a little calendar, and I would wake up at 5 in the morning, roll out of bed, and go do my training, come home, and get ready for school or ready for work.
Yeah. People, and even myself, I'm like, you know what? Today I'm going to run 5 miles. And I get out there and I've made it maybe, 3/4 through my first mile. And I'm like, this is terrible. I hate this. I'm never doing this. So what happens? I go back home and I don't run again for 3 weeks
Yeah.
because, first of all, that's way too much. I'm not going to get off the couch and run 5 miles. And I think we do these drastic steps because we're like, oh, I got to change. I got to make changes. And we're aware of that. But yet, not, unlike what you did, where you did it where it's doable.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah.
Three
So
minutes running is doable. Start at 1 minute, start.
yeah.
And then,
See, I didn't know this at the time, but success breeds success. And lots of research has been done, in fact, in the past 10 years on this exact topic. It is, if you want to be successful, set a goal that you can accomplish, or set a task that you can accomplish. The task could be, I'm going to go for a run, period. Like, that's it. The run could be to the end of your sidewalk and back. That's it. There's no distance. We don't want to. What happens is we start overburdening ourselves with training targets when we have no idea what we're talking about. Right? If I don't know anything about running, or how to get off the couch and run a 10K, and I say I'm going to go out and run 3 miles today. No, you're not. You need to go out
right.
and run for 5 minutes. That's what you need to do. And by run, I just mean you need to go out and move in a direction for 5 minutes at any pace, at any speed. And when you
Mhm.
do that, okay, good. I did it. I accomplished my goal. I'm all ready. Now I can move on to the next one, which is to go out for 6 minutes. It's not, okay,
Mhm.
let me test my 10K time real quick.
Yeah, let me feel good about myself that I did something good rather than beating myself up because I didn't run 5 miles.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
We're so hard on ourselves, especially when we look in the mirror and say, "Ah, I don't like what I see. My I don't like my abs, or I don't like this or that." I mean, we all do it. We look in the mirror and go, "Ah, I've got to do something." And so we either starve ourselves, which is stupid, or we shoot these goals that we can't possibly reach. And
Yeah.
then by day 3, we've quit. We've quit the
Yeah.
whole thing. We're mad. So, or depressed or sad or all of the things, angry,
Yep.
and wonder why we can't make any changes, why nothing's working.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so that was how I started. And I really, my nutrition more or less followed that path, where I got rid of all the stupid things that I knew were stupid. Um, And then training wise, after I ran the 5K, or I'm sorry, I ran the 10K in last week of September. And then I joined the Y and started kind of doing my own weight training, joined some classes. And the good thing about that was it was nice to have a community and other people who were like-minded and like doing the same things and had similar expectations or goals that I did. And so that was good. The downside that I realized was I hired a personal trainer, and he was I don't terrible. I don't want to say he was terrible, but he was. He just didn't know. Like, if you ever have a trainer who says on a squat, just go down as low as you feel comfortable, or if you have a trainer who says, "What are we going to work on today?" No, like you're the trainer.
I was hoping you would
I
tell me
I
that.
tell you my goals, and you help me, and you tell me what to do to get there. Right? That's how this is
Yeah,
supposed. That's like going to the doctor and saying, "Hey, doc, this is my diagnosis. This is the medicine you need to treat me. If you can just write the
right.
prescription and let me leave." Right? No, that's not how this works.
It's not right.
And so I ended up wasting. I won't say wasting. I didn't completely waste, but I did not make the most effective use of my time for about 2 years. Yeah, for about 2 years. 2.5,
Hmm.
for about 2.5 years. And it wasn't until 2.5 years that I found CrossFit and CrossFit coaching, and someone who said, "This is how you move. Okay, here are your goals over here, Brian. You want your wife to faint when she sees you stepping out of the shower. We need to lose fat and build muscle. Here's how we do that. Here's the prescription for doing that. Here's the programming for doing that. Here's how you need to move to make those things happen. And we're going to go forward, and I'm going to encourage you and coach you along the way." And that's what's supposed to happen. And I was fortunate. I had that happen with me. I also, looking back, I gave my coach a lot of grace. There were things that did not go well, but I just kept moving forward, and I was very consistent, even when life wasn't perfect. And now here I am talking to you.
Now look at you. You
Now
look
look at me.
great.
Thank you.
It's hard for me to imagine you overweight and out of shape, but I
Yeah.
mean, if you say so, I believe you.
Yeah, and what's funny to me is that one of my coaches early on in this process I just told you about, I thought the same of him, and he had a very similar story to mine. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You look great, and you move perfectly. Like, his squat was perfect." And now,
Mhm.
so I try to keep that in mind, like, because my squat is pretty great, and other people see it, and I want
Mhm.
to know, hey, no, back in 2015, my hip flexors were so tight, I could not put my hips below my knees. I mean, my body physically could not do that. But it is possible to get there with just consistency, just showing up and doing anything, literally anything.
Exactly. Literally anything.
Yeah.
I have
And
stories
I
every
say
day.
anything that we're coaching you at Blue Eagle, like
Well, correct. Right.
not on your own necessarily. And that's the thing. There's so many things. There's like some free things you can do around here and some lower price things. And they're just not going to coach you. They're not going to coach you. They may set an example. They may say, do it like what I'm doing, but that's not likely to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's my story. That's how I got started in all this. And now I get to talk to you every week.
That's awesome. I know. I'm so happy for you that you get to talk to me every week.
I got to talk to you like 3 times today. I'm very happy about
One
that.
day. You know, we have high standards. I think it's true the people you hang around. It is a mentality when we're all, working hard towards fitness goals. It is a mentality. The people you hang around push you to want to be better and better and better. I think that's what we do at our gym. And so even if we're not satisfied with where we are, we're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
We're pretty
you
darn
know,
good.
I have to keep that in mind, especially when I'm bagging on myself. Like, you know what? Could be a lot worse, Clancy. I could be back running the bleachers in college like I used to do. I was just a cardio queen. All I did was
Sure.
run and walk. I never
Sure.
lifted a weight. I was like, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Well,
it's
thank you,
good.
Clancy. I appreciate
Well,
your time
thanks for
today.
sharing.
You're
Yeah,
very
thanks
welcome.
for sharing. And bring that picture and show us that picture. I'd love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
The old
Thanks.
Bryan. All
Okay, well, I'll
right. Well,
talk to you next
thanks.
time.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
You can get every episode of Busy People Getting Fit wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can also reach us at busypeoplegettingfit.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.